Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at a scale trains offering I'm way behind on because of computer issues, but I skipped ahead on a different scale trains review, and now we're taking a look at the Dash 9s from Scale Trains. The official names are C44-9Ws, but we have both an operator and a rivet counter here. The operator is just the demo scheme, the GE demo scheme, and the rivet counter is BNSF. So we'll take a look at these starting now. I have not unboxed as many operators as much as rivet counters, so we'll unbox an operator here. And the rivet counter is just surrounded in foam and has more manuals or different manuals, so you're not losing too much here. But there's the operator manual and sound operation and basic instructions included in the box. Got a plastic sleeve, we'll slide that out. And in the blister, as they call it, I've got truck immobilizers. Just had a piece of foam fall. Move that out of the way. And you may be asking yourself, wow, that looks kind of like a basically detailed locomotive. Well, operators are very, very good priced, and you can see the pricing probably on the screen if I remembered to edit it in. But the operators have a very, very good price, and they still come with sound if you want it. And so they've got separate detail kits that you can sometimes buy, but it's not as detailed as the rivet counter, which comes at a higher price. So with that said, I'll get the rivet counter out of the box off screen, and we'll take a look at both of these locomotives. Alright, the very first thing I want to do, which is a little out of order from how I normally do it, is show you the difference between the operator and rivet counter, and the best way to do that is put it side by side. Because you can really tell, like, the separately applied grabs are not present on the operator. There's no separate grab on even the snow plow. There's no coupler cut lever, accessory hoses or MU hoses. There's still safety tread on the walkways and a lot of features that you wouldn't really expect on such a low-priced locomotive, but you don't have windshield wipers, for example, roof detailing, you know, more of the sophisticated detailing. Even the vents on the radiators, for example, are done a little differently, and that's giving you the best visual representation I can of the difference between the operator and the rivet counter. Now, with that said, let's look at the operator first. I'm gonna put the rivet counter aside for a moment, and we'll zoom in. And like we mentioned before, some basic detailing, but you do have cab interior still. You still have safety tread on the walkway. There are still see-through steps. Nice safety pane on the step sills there. Jacking pads, as you can see right here, and some basic truck detail. The trucks are another thing that aren't detailed as well, but wanted to show you just how detailed you do get on the operator. You still get emergency shutoff on the fuel tank and sight glass. You can see there and there, respectively, and the fuel tank detail with some minor plumbing in between. So we move to the rear. You can get a better look at the trucks, and you can catch just a glimpse, good angle of the safety tread on the walkway there, and the paint. You still have sill paint as well. You know, they don't really shorten the paint game too terribly much. More basic radiator hood back here. The fan grills are not see-through like they are on the rivet counter. You also get plastic couplers instead of metal couplers. Both are Scale Train branded couplers. Still really sharp handrails, even though they're plastic. They're in good shape and straight. Plastic brake wheel. You can see the compartment detail, Dash 9 on the side, because this is essentially the scheme that GE released the Dash 9 in for the railroads to test, and did some testing of their own on their respective GE test track. So that would be pretty cool to visit sometime. See the fan grills for the dynamic brake fan area there. You still have cab window sunshades, battery box doors, and some of the molded in detail. That looks to be a separate part there. Not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. And back to the front, you still get sand filler hatches too. So that's a quick look at the detail level and a quick Vanna White look at the Dash 9 in the operator. Now we have the rivet counter, which brings a whole nother level of detail. Alright, my camera doesn't do this justice, and my brain will never do it justice in terms of all the different parts, so we'll just look at some of the stuff I know and I'll wing it on the rest. So these are ditch lights here, obviously, accessory hoses, coupler cut bar, separately applied grabs on the snow plow, and accessory hoses and brake line hoses, windshield wipers, grabs all over the nose, sand filler hatch, PTC antenna up top, LED lit number board. You still get LEDs in the operator too, I believe. Nose has LED lights. You've got the window in the cab door there. Just lots and lots of detail on the side here. Truck details insane. Underbody details even more insane. You can see all of the plumbing and conduit running along the side of the sill here. FRA mandated striping there. Dash 9's very clear. Warning labels galore. Just look at that detail. It's crazy. Alright, you got fan grills here on the side. And some compartments and such. Emergency shutoff for the fuel tank. Fuel tank's weathered a little bit. Looks like some paint rubbed on or paint rubbed off effect. Guessing paint rubbed off. Sight glass. More mechanisms below, plumbing. It's just crazy. And then, if you look really close, you see a different BNSF compartment was used right there, and they accurately reflect that too, and more detail back here as well. So this is a real model, a real locomotive. Obviously, it's definitely a real model. On the rail still, you see the exhaust. There's a little cage area for the exhaust along with lift lugs. Radiator fan grill area back here, see-through in the back. You can see that fan housing right there. See it better right there. You can see that in the grill. This lower area is also see-through. And more truck detail on the rear, see-through steps, which are just out of picture right now. Trying to fix that for you. Rear light, LED again, more grabs, more accessory hoses, metal couplers, accessory hoses and MU hoses, that is, on the back. So another good look at both how close or how straight the handrails are and the safety tread. Good view right there. Dead end on the back. Brake wheel back here. More striping, warning labels, the horn up top. It's a beautiful locomotive. BNSF has ran this thing for a while, and then Skeltrain's accurately reflected that. Battery box doors, jacking pads, the whole nine on these Dash 9s. No pun intended. Alright, we're going to hit F8. We're going to look at the manual, because everybody knows I don't know what I'm doing. So we're going to look at the manual and make sure we have all the functions down. But F8, I know, starts up these ESU Loc Sound equipped locomotives. That was me hitting the headlight, by the way. One is bell. Two is horn. Three is coupler. Four is dynamic brakes when moving. I don't know if I accurately captured that sound or not, so we'll go back. DPU lights. F5, we'll get into that later. F6 is ditch lights. As you can see, they make sure they flash or don't flash according to road name. F7 has no assignment. F8, as we talked about, start up and shut down. F9's drive hold. Or I can hit F9, rev it up to the speed step I want, and then release F9 and it goes to that speed step like it's resuming. Good for pretending like it's letting slack out of trains and such. F10, dependent brake. Just lots of different sounds. All the way up to F31, where you can mess with the sound fader. And I wish I really had more time to do this, but we'll do like handbrake F21 here. Cab door F22, kind of hard to hear over everything, but those are the functions. Alright, we're going to move this, starting at one speed step. There's one. Pretty smooth right out of the box. 2. 3. 4. And 5. I hear that whoop of the compressor, I think it is. There's one in reverse. Two. Now you hear the dynamic brake fan. 3. 4 and 5. So very smooth operator. And speaking of operator, let's see how the operator moves at slow speed steps before we move further along. Alright, it's going through its startup sequence. So you can see the ditch lights flash on that because the GE demo ditch lights flashed. But you're getting that different horn as well because it's the very first Dash 9. Look at that, just as smooth as the other one, even though it's so much more budget friendly. Still very smooth. There's 2, 3 speed steps. One was going just fine. I'll show you that too. That's butter. Back up to 4 for a second here. And 5. They're just as smooth and sounds just as good as the much higher detailed Rivet counter version. There's one in reverse. 2. 3. 4. And 5. I remember one of my viewers that saw one of the reviews of when I did operator and Rivet counter a few years ago on something. You know, they said, you know, I buy the operator for my kid so that they can really enjoy it and kind of rough it up and it's not breaking parts everywhere. And I bought the Rivet counter for myself, you know, and had the higher detail. So you know, two different options, budget friendly or kid friendly, however you want to look at it. You know, still obviously pertain to the 14-year-old recommendation, I think, that's on the box, or whatever the recommendation is. But if you're worried about kids breaking stuff, you know, operator is the way to go. If you're worried about blowing your budget, operator is the way to go on that front as well. So now we're going to check slow speed control with the speedometer here. I'm going to go ahead and keep sound off so you can hear motor noise. Very, very quiet locomotive, even with the sound off. Motor noise not hardly noticeable at all. You may barely be able to pick it up. You're probably picking up my AC unit more than you're picking up the motor noise, because that's louder to me. .7 miles per hour at 1 speed step, so just crawling slow speed control, which is amazing. Alright, that about does it for that portion of the review. We're going to look at testing and then lighting, so stick with us and we'll do that next. Alright, here's a pull test. Again with the motor off. So you can hear how quiet it is. That noise is actually the wheels on the rails. The pull test, pretty impressive so far. Looks like it's going to max out at 4.7 ounces, which is probably about 68 cars or so. Regular size HO scale freight cars, the rule is about 15 cars per ounce. So it can pull plenty of cars, and two of these can pull a realistically long consist easily. Off camera, the operator is pulling at 4.4 ounces for those of you that want to know. So I did see it peak to 4.5 at one time. But that tells you you got almost the same pulling power on both. Wheel sets engaged so far with the NMRA compliance. Also look at the edge area to make sure nothing's overlapping, because that little area to the left of this gauge, the wheel sets, tells you the clearance of the locomotive, and you don't want to ever have parts going past that because you can have side swipes and such. So NMRA compliant so far. We'll check coupler height. Right here is coupler height. Teeny bit low on that end. Over here and look. Also a teeny bit low on that end. But you be the judge. Looks like it would handle things pretty well. Last but not least, I want to show you the lighting for these. Ditch lights, obviously. They stay on for the BNSF when it's blowing. Headlight, number board lights, walkway lights both on the side. And you can probably see the walkway light right there peeking its head out right above the ditch light. Overall, great lighting, nice golden white or golden yellow LEDs, very prototypical looking, and has a capacitor obviously, but if I turn it around, you can have track power interruptions with no problems. Kill the lights even further. There's the rear. I want to show you real quick DPU mode, so let me turn the light back up here. Just hitting 5 puts it in DPU mode. Now you have a rear light. So pretty cool overall. One thing I really forgot to show you is the roller bearing caps as well. I'm going to move this. See the roller bearing moving in the middle? Pretty neat. Gives you a nice view of all the underbody detail as well. So overall, great locomotives with this series. Well, that's going to wrap up the review of the Scale Trains Dash 9s in both operator and rivet counter versions. Operator, great for people working within a budget, and rivet counter, great for people that want detail. And overall, great value either way. Couldn't find anything bad to say. Teeny little bit off on the coupler height with the NMRA compliance. That was the only thing I could really find to really ding these for. They were really good looking. You've got the lighting on the side, walkway lighting and step lighting, just overall beauties for locomotives. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on my channel. Take care.